to order and please, oh. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order and please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Eric. Sorry, I should have given you a couple more seconds to get that up there, but you were quick. Okay, roll call.
Amy
Jody
Bailey, board
Thompson.
member.
Jody Thompson, board member.
Stephanie Smith, board member.
Ryan Cristelli, board member.
Chris Nesmith, superintendent.
Delaney Hanson, student representative.
Melinda Tuttle, staff.
Bernadette Bauer, board member.
Eric Smith, staff.
Okay, we'll move on to approval of board meeting minutes from the 22nd of September.
I'll move for the approval of our board meeting minutes for September 22nd, 2021.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Letters, a hire letter for, is it Richard Keevy? I have that right? Okay.
Yeah. Scroll to that spot. So this is from Transportation Director Caleb Boogar. Just recommend Derek Keevy to be approved to hire to fill the currently posted bus driver position with the Alma School District Transportation Department. The interview present committee was Heidi Peak and Caleb himself. Dick has experience in the field of pupil transportation over the past 2 years. He was a substitute driver with the Alma School District, and we're seeking the recommendation of the board to approve the hire. And I think one big positive is we are one of the few school districts in the region with a full transportation department right now.
Woohoo! Okay, and then Russell Llewellyn resignation letter.
Really want to thank Russell for his time. He's resigning from his position as the head wrestling coach for Alma High School. It's always been his dream, a dream of his to coach for his alma mater. I'll go ahead and read this part because I think Russell really just sent us a great letter on this. It's always been a dream of mine to coach for my alma mater, and I truly appreciate the opportunity that was given to me over a decade ago. It has truly been an honor and pleasure coaching the blue and white. The amount of support I've received over the years from Alma High School and our community have been overwhelming. Being a coach at Alma has taught me so many things about life. I appreciate all the friendships I've created along the way and the great memories. I'm going to miss these student athletes. They have played a major part in my life for the past 12 years. It's time for me to put my coaching career on hold and focus on my aging daughters as they're both in middle school, and I feel I need to step away and dedicate these upcoming years to everything they are doing before it's too late. I would like to ask the Alma School District to allow me to serve on a hiring committee for the next head coach, as I care a tremendous amount for this program and these wrestlers. There isn't anyone who knows what this program needs to continue to grow better than I do. I hope you consider this idea. This is a very sad and tearful letter for me, as I have given all I could to this program, but unfortunately and rightfully, it's time for me to make the very difficult decision. I will be back someday, but it is on hold for now as I enjoy these years with my amazing daughters. So I just really wanted to thank
Yes.
Coach Llewellyn.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we will move on to the consent agenda. Prior to doing the consent agenda motions, I'd like to go ahead and pull out the Oderman leave without pay for an individual vote. And we'll circle back around after we're done with the consent agenda.
I think a motion would be, if there is a motion, it would be to pull Consent agenda, item 6, letter B, section 3, under leave requests, to pull that item to be having a vote taken individually for Candace.
So I will go ahead and move that we pull the leave request for Oderman out of the consent agenda for a later vote. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda.
I'll move for the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So we'll go ahead and circle back around. I believe, Chris, is the appropriate time to circle back around to that.
It is, just by the recommendation of the district that when we take a vote on leave without pay, submission needs to be prior to the actual date. So following our own procedures that we have in place, it would be the recommendation that we wouldn't be able to approve because we are out of order of our own procedures.
So is Candace here? Do we need to do an individual vote as a recommend on this matter?
I think the recommendation would either be a vote to approve or a vote to deny.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay.
So I guess my question is, what if we deny, I mean, I don't understand. If we deny it, what does that mean?
It just means that the leave won't be approved. We have to go back through as a district. We'll have to review our policy. We'll have to it'll still have to end up being the same, but we just have to follow our district procedures on how we handle leave without pay being submitted prior to the date. So we have to make sure that we follow our procedures on this process.
So it's more of a procedural thing, Chris. Basically, she's going to get the leave without pay. It's just a matter if we vote yes or no on it.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Is there, Chris, is there a clear understanding now with staff that these need to come in before the fact and not after?
That has been my conversations with all principals, that personal needs to be submitted before the fact. And making sure that we're communicating with our staff on how we submit our leave and making sure that we're following our procedures on these processes.
Ryan, you had something to say?
Yeah, because I was looking at that particular request and I noticed there was days actually even before our last board meeting. So it had plenty of time to come before us on the last board meeting. And it didn't. And frankly, I personally am not going to approve things that are coming to us after the fact.
Sorry about that. Okay, so we would need a motion.
I will move that we do not approve the Oderman leave without pay.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, discussion items. We have the state of the Elma School District minimum basic ed requirements. Mr. Nesmith.
All right, well, let me share my screen. All right, I cannot claim our presentation. I will say our new communications specialist, Izzy, has been working really hard on how we identify ourselves. And it felt like a great conversation for us just to it would be to look at some of the data we're collecting and the information that we're knowing about our Alma School District students. So we're going to talk about 4 different topics where our students are hitting on student achievement, our enrollment, academic performance, kind of our pre-assessments, and kind of what our student enrollment profiles and classifications that we have here in Alma. So we talk about where our students are going. One of the most important things I like to look at is the ERDC Educational Research Data Center out of Washington State. And what we know out of the class of 2019, about 14% are pursuing 4-year degrees, 30% are pursuing 2-year degrees, and 56% are not moving beyond their high school diplomas. When it comes to completion after 8 years, we have about 18% of the class of 2012 have completed their 4-year degree, 12% in associates, and about 69% have not completed a post-secondary education. And I think we're that targeted intervention that we want to look at, and what are we doing for our Alma students for life beyond high school? How are they permeating on, and how are we setting students up for lifelong success would be that bottom line, where we know out of 2013, or if we're looking at this 14 years after high school now. So now we're talking about 32-year-olds, Elma 32-year-olds without a post-secondary earn about $35,900 on average. Associate's degrees, $39,500, and bachelor's or higher, $54,200. What's really unique about this ERDC data is that's what they actually earn. That's what our Alma graduates are earning, not a hypothetical figure, or a lot of times when you see the state data like graduates on average, this is the average for just our district. Talk about where our students go. We've actually been having an increase of Grace Harbor College enrollment with a rather sharp decrease in South Puget Sound enrollment. But most of our students that are moving into 4-year education are pursuing education about into private 4-year schools. This data here on where our students are going does include trade school students. It includes your state trade schools like your Clover Park, your like Washington Tech. We just don't have a large percentage of our students moving on to our state trade schools. We look at kind of the average of where our students are moving. Now, this data does track apprenticeship enrollment. We don't have a high enough N factor on apprenticeship. So, and that N factor would be like, we don't have a number that's large enough to quantify it statistically. So we know anecdotally, we do have students moving on to apprenticeships. We just don't have enough students moving on to become a data impact. And what's unique is when you do look at this chart, the highest pay, so on average, you kind of see where our Alma students, the state average is actually apprenticeship completers at about $89,000 a year for, 12 years after high school. So that's really where our Alma graduates are going. That's how our graduates are performing after they leave us. Are there any questions on where our students are doing before we talk about what our numbers are looking like in our buildings?
Just speculation. Do you have an idea of how long it would take to collect more data to find out what that looks like for those trade schools?
The trade school numbers, we have the state pulls the state trade school. The trade school numbers for us would be the same. They don't have a large enough factor.
Oh, okay. Okay. I understand.
That we're looking, and that's what happens when you have FPRA, your federal privacy law. We don't have a large enough population that are moving on to the trade schools to come back to us as a data indicator. And you'll notice that you'll see that if we have really low data indication points, it says 0 to 10%. The reason behind that is when you get to really low percentage rates, you get to a point where you can almost identify who that individual student was, especially when you're looking at like these blue areas. Well, 14% of our graduates, a graduating class of, let's say 100, that's 14 students.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to a point where of those 14, 17% of those 14 are pursuing out of state, so you get to a point where you can start to figure out who specifically those 14 are. So private or out of state. And that's where.
Perfect. That makes more sense to me. Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the big ones. One of the conversations we're going to talk about is what kind of data can we collect? Because this is, we're talking about 32-year-olds. It's really hard to have an impact here at Alma School District on what we can do for our current 32-year-olds. So I would look at that as our summative data. It is what it is. We have, when we meet next at our next board meeting, we're going to talk about some of our strategic goals. And a lot of that is about what kind of data can we begin looking at that would drive those numbers? Like what data can we look at about our students that we have here now? And how can we begin building data dashboards to help us identify what our goals are that drives our bigger district priorities? District enrollment from 2012. The blue line is our increase of certified staffing, and the orange line is our student enrollment. We've had about a 5.34 drop in student enrollment about 2021, which is close to about 100 students. And we've increased our staffing by about 16.29% certified staffing. So the kind of the separation is we've lost students, but we've increased our staffing rates. When we look at that, our staffing ratios from about 2012, we're at about 15.6 certified employees per student at Alma Elementary to 11.4%. So this green line here would be your staffing ratios, like how many certified employees per student. And then the bar charts would be our student enrollment. So you actually would see our student enrollment count going up. Sorry, our FTE count, sorry, staffing counts going up. Sorry, I had that backwards. So when we look at our student enrollment breakdown, we'd see that the largest loss of enrollment would be in our ALE programming. You'll see that orange line is kind of slowly decreasing. We've actually had a huge jump, this dark blue line right across the bottom, in our running start enrollment rates. So we can actually see that our ALE and our running start numbers, or we've had those kind of largest shifts, which is sad because I think our East Grays Harbor High School has had a really powerful place within our community to meet the needs of individual learners. So I think it's strategizing how we can take that orange line and beginning increasing it. And I think with the addition of our Eagle Sky Virtual Academy, we're going to see that orange line is going to continue to increase as we begin looking at our 2022 data. When we look at our student enrollment counts, we do have a huge kindergarten group of 130 kindergartners, which is impressive when you realize that moving to ninth grade is when our neighboring districts, their students begin joining us. So that's where we see our McClary students and our Southside students. And you'll see 130 is kind of close to where we traditionally are with our high school student rates. So we do have a large group moving up. And these are our individual student enrollment counts. I think we're sitting pretty close to, with the addition of Eagle Sky Virtual Academy and our preschool, about 1,600 individual bodies. So that's not inherently FTE. That's just, each body. So if a student has a split enrollment, like they come to school half day and then another student comes half day, that would be your FTE count. Any questions on our student enrollment and ratios, our staffing ratios? Right. So the next kind of ones are going to be looking at our student achievement data on state assessments over the years. And I really like when I talk to Mr. Keating, he talks about the his iReady factor. Actually, in this one data, after I made this, I felt like it wasn't really a fair data indicator because this shows you our student growth as far as how many of our students passed or did not pass SBAC. I have a different way to look at it as well that I kind of wish I would have done earlier and I didn't think about it, which actually shows us off of state average. And I will say that Elma Elementary has done an incredible job based off state average, outperforming in the growth along the state. If you don't mind, I might actually share that figure, because if you look at our third grade math scores, I don't know if, like our third grade English scores, I don't know if it truly communicates how great of a job our teachers have done. So I'm going to give you a different way to look at it real quick. You'll see the red line is state average and the blue dot is Elma across every school district in the state of Washington. And you'll see that Elma has consistently been making gains to go past and beyond the state average. And this is third grade multi-year. So I'll probably finish this the same way that I have been doing it. I'll show the presentation through the chart, but I do want to say when looking at this differently, looking at it this way might not show the overall success that our teachers have been having when you're looking at just pass fail scores, but when you get a chance to compare it to state average, Alma has been consistently growing beyond the state. And I think it's just really appreciate Mark's leadership on his teachers. So We're back to looking at my PowerPoint, right? All right, perfect. Okay, fourth grade, again, we see year after year continued improvement in fifth grade, especially now when we start seeing our ELA scores, really with more students in the green than in the orange and the red all the way through 2019. And a fifth grade, I think this fifth grade math score, just that huge jump from 2018 to 2019. It's been really strong. I think when I talk to Mark, I talk about these years where he has them. He calls that his iReady point, where he goes, you see iReady come into play and you see the state scores just skyrocket. And Mark's on this call. Mark, is that what you would still call it? All right. Sixth grade, we notice that we have that increasing green. So this is our sixth grade scores. Seventh grade scores, we have a great big jump from sixth grade into seventh grade, especially in the mathematics. And then eighth grade. So high school, our 10th grade kind of drops a bit in mathematics, but we actually have a shift from our tier 3 to our tier 4. So this is kind of overall about how we've been doing historically. Kind of any questions on, hang on. Any questions on how we've performed historically before we get a look at our current student performance figures? So I talked a lot about our iReady. The reason why we like iReady is it has a really high correlation coefficient, which means how the students perform on iReady is really, really close to how they're going to perform on state assessment. And that's what we mean when we say we're highly correlated. So these are the current Elma pre-assessments for our iReady. And I think after losing about a solid year and a half of education, I'm pretty impressed with these numbers. Because looking at those state numbers, I think I saw a lot of red, more red than green, and now I'm seeing more. These green figures are kind of growing and starting to take over the bulk of the area. So this is our growth from 1st through 8th grade on our pre-assessments. And this would be if our students took SBAC today, which they did, this should be pretty close to where they would score on that. And this is our math iReady scores. And again, we see consistent growth within the green areas on our math. Any questions on our student assessments? The ultimate goal, obviously, we're going to have green. That's the nice part is now that we have this data, next January, we'll iReady assess again, and we can compare our fall iReady score to our January iReady score, and we can see how the student growth is impacted. And it kind of gives us these conversations on what Mr. Keating and what Ms. Perry is doing in their building, what their staff are doing in their buildings, to what is driving that growth, and how are we seeing it, and where are we seeing more growth versus less growth, and what do we think the causes of more growth are. We're looking at our student enrollment. We have about 17.9% of students are on an IEP. The federal government will fund you at 13%. So that means we're about just under 5%, comes without any additional financial supports from the federal government. 6.9% of our students are limited English proficient, and 65% of our students were actually that number is down. We were really close last year, close to 70%, but I think the influx of housing, so we're 65.1% of our students this year are currently low income on free and reduced lunch. Every student in the Alma School District has free lunch because of our student support needs.
Chris, is that IEP, is that a high number for our district to be at 17.9%?
Compared to the state average, that'd be a really high number.
Okay.
Our attendance is looking pretty good. We're running at about an 84% attendance rate on average by grade level. You'll notice our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders run about an 81% attendance rate. 11th grade is running an 86% attendance rate, and senior high school students who can drive is typically your lowest attendance rate. In a non-COVID year, we'd like to see this around 93%, but with a lot of the health department rules on close contact quarantining, symptoms and quarantining, I'm actually really impressed with this number. Many districts around us are sitting well below the 80% rate. I think I heard one district is around 65%. So on average, an 81% attendance rate is a figure that I'm pretty happy with comparatively under the current times. So I just see that there's lots of opportunities. There's been continued growth. I'm just impressed with our administrative team who are working on getting the structures in place, working with, Mr. Keating and Miss Perry, and then we have a current substitute administrator in place right now at the high school, Bill, and then also the work that Julie has been doing on how we can provide multi-levels of supports for our students. I just see continued growth for the Alma School District students. I think we have the right people in the right places to really, drive the student achievement and student growth. I think before I hit questions, we do have one last thing I want to talk about where we're going. And that's going to be currently what we're working on now is actually our district data dashboards. We're working on data around our iReady analysis. We're working on our overview, student attendance. The next work where we're going to present at the next board meeting. We're going to talk about our district goals, where we want to be as an Alma school district. And then on our next November PLC, we have teaching groups who've said that they really want to be a part of this group and they really want to drive our initiatives. We have a group who wants to drive the career and college readiness initiative. We have a group who wants to drive our mastery-based learning initiative. We have a group who wants to drive our pre-K work. The first assigned project we're tasking our early adopting teams on is how do we measure our success? Because now we have the data tools to measure it. So between now and at our next meeting in November, our PLC meeting in November, teams are going to begin working on the data points that if we want to improve post-secondary performance, including apprenticeships, including military, right? Do we have the data indicators as a district that we can look at it and see what drives those performance? Do we have the systems in place to drive our pre-K? I think we already have the data, but we don't have the dashboard. So we have our WalkKids assessment data. So do we have an ability to drive and improve our WalkKids assessment scores for our students entering in kindergarten? So that's really the big goal for the year. Because when those teams identify the data indicators in November, it'll take us probably from November to March to actually begin collecting and have a reliable source of data to view. So when we hit in the spring, we'll now have benchmarks to say, this is where we are in Elma, this is where we want to be, and this is how we measure it. And that's the ultimate goal. In our next board meeting, we're going to talk about those goals and how we want to measure it. So we're kind of open-ended on how we're going to, where we're going to go next now that we're getting the tools in place. So are there any questions?
None?
Okay.
Thank you. That was it's a lot of information, but it's good stuff. It gives us a starting point and a place to build from. So thank you, Chris.
The big goal is to just get to a point where it's the data we feel that is our data that we own.
Mm-hmm.
These presentations are going to become more, I hate to say interesting, but yeah, interesting. They're going to become more interesting as we're looking at data
Yeah.
teachers have identified or administrative teams have identified. And also you and I, the board and I as the district leadership team, that we know that this is how we can measure the success of the Alma school district. And that's what we do the next level. Thank you.
Thank you again for that. Okay, so Mr. Scroggins, so we're presenting the Cte Program.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, and
Good evening.
Good evening. And can you is Melinda Tuttle out there as well?
Yes, she is. Yep.
I'm here.
All right. So hey, I'd like to Megan or Melinda is going to share a lot of information with you here, and we'll do a quick overview. Hopefully, you've had a chance to read through the report. But I just want to, compliment Miss Melinda Tuttle. When we hired her for when she got involved with HiCap, she's one of those people that will make a program great. She doesn't need a lot of guidance or it's just like get out of her way and let her go, and she'll do great things. And that's what she's been doing. I just wish that we had, we do have some challenges as far as how we can we've had some great things happen here at the elementary school, but how can we transition that to middle, because Melinda's teaching 4 sections here and then 2 sections of HiCap. There's not enough of her to go around. And so, but I talked with Sunshine Perry last week. We're going to be working on some ideas, but anyways, Melinda is going to give you an overview of the program. And if you guys approve the report tonight, we'll be able to upload that into our iGrants application, and we'll get funding for this year with our HiCap as well. So Miss Melinda Tuttle, go ahead.
Okay. Greg, were you gonna share screen at all, or do you want me to, or
Yeah, can you share a screen from there?
I will try to share screen.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. This is not it. Oh, this is it. Okay. So I was hired about 5 years ago. And when I started the high cap program, it was a work in progress. And we built it up to this amazing, amazing program. And then COVID happened and it was just stopped in its tracks because I wasn't able to see my students in person. Normally I have this awesome slideshow of all the things we did for the year. And I do not have that this year, but we did do some really cool online enrichment. Some of my students actually entered some contests through Future Engineers. Let me make this bigger. Let's see. So basically my high cap students are referred by staff members if they exhibit highly capable traits. In the previous years, we offered enrichment 40 minutes one time a week through my high cap program. Last year, everything was through Google Classroom or Class Dojo. I did have 10 students enter different contests through the Future Engineers. And all of the ones who entered the Moon Pod essay, their essays are actually sent to the moon, which was kind of cool. This year, we finally are able to see each other in person. And what was really interesting is what we realized was the last time we'd actually seen each other in person was the week after we had done this huge STEM fair where over 100 families had come to the school to see what their students had been doing in my class. And so at the end of that program or that night, we just threw everything into my closet. And so the first day we came back, we got everything out and started organizing it. And it was kind of therapeutic. But so I have, these are my numbers of how many students I have. So the referred numbers, they are not fully into the program yet. I do have a couple homeschooled students that also participate. They come just for my high cap program. In kindergarten, I don't have any students yet. First grade, I have one student referred that I see. In second grade, I have 2 students referred and then 1 homeschool student referred, and I see them. Third grade, I have 11 students referred. Fourth grade, I have 9 students in the program and 7 referred, so 16 total. Fifth grade, I have 8 students in the program and 8 referred and a homeschooled student, so 17 total. The students who were referred were not evaluated last year due to being only online. For elementary pull out, I do a lot of robotics, STEM. I want them to do a culminating project that we will share for hopefully another family night this year. And then I also had some ideas for a school project that maybe my students could do, maybe creating some videos for new students about our school or the character traits like we do for students of the month. I thought my 5th grade students would have a really good time doing that. I will do continued online enrichment for the students who cannot come to school, either those who choose Sky Academy, or if they are homeschool or COVID related issues, I will have some activities for them online too. So previous years before COVID, well, we did a family night and I would like to do that again. Hopefully we can. If not, because we had 100 families show up, we'll try to do something through Class Dojo showcasing their projects that they did for the year. We did that in February before. And we did it in the Elma Elementary cafeteria. In previous years, I did Saturday events. We did Lego robotics, we did snap circuits. My husband actually is an electrician. He came in and taught him a little bit about snap circuits and electricity. I'm hoping that we can still do that again. My biggest successful program, I think, was my summer academy that we've done in the past, and I'm hoping to do that again this year. Because of COVID, we were not able to do the program that I spent a bunch of time planning last year, and I had planned to have guest speakers from the Nisqually Refuge, Grays Harbor Stream Team, Bricks for Kids, and also the Museum Flight was going to come down and do a whole space flight program for them. So hopefully we can still plan for something like that again this year. And then due to our economic status here at Elma School District, we were able to apply for a grant that we could possibly get 80% off the normal price for their program. So I also plan to make sure to communicate with all the parents through Class Dojo. I also plan to do newsletters for the parents. I communicate right now with all the grade level teachers about when I can pull out students so it doesn't affect anything with them, because I know it's been so long since they've seen their students. I meet monthly with Greg Scroggins to discuss the plans. And then if I have any questions about any of the like high cap regulations, I call Jody Hess at OSPI and she always gives me some good information. And I just put some things that I would possibly spend money on. This is kind of wish list. The Mystery Science yearly subscription, some different manipulatives for STEM building activities and supplies, maybe some supplies for family night. And then my summer academy is kind of the biggest thing. And then based on previous years, this was some of my spending. So I think that's about it. Do you have any questions about that?
I don't have any questions, but I have comments. I always enjoy watching your slideshow when you do present it, Melinda. It's an impressive program that you run. And I can tell the joy that the students get out of it merely by the pictures and the videos that you present. So with that being said, hopefully this year you can cruise along and attain the goals you've set out because it looks very exciting and very promising for your students.
Thank you.
I was just going to add, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, hey, I was just going to mention one more thing too. Since Melinda has gotten involved in HiCap, she's also been networking with area schools, making contact with people. And so we're also, as we're looking at, during this time coming off COVID, what are some other schools doing? What are some ideas? We're trying to find, vet other programs and see if there's ways that we can get some of our, for example, our middle school kids, when they go off to middle school, how can we keep those kids connected? What are some other districts doing? So just wanted you to know that Melinda is pursuing that as well.
I was just going to add that I appreciated how well-rounded it is as well. Melinda, you have lots of just a good scope of high cap activities that should interest a broad number of kids. So nice job getting that developed.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you so much. Okay, we have CTE program update. So we have Christy Kershaw. I didn't see, oh, good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully. So in your board packet, you did get a strategic plan that was all written out. This will be a brief overview of our strategic plan for our CTE and kind of what we've accomplished this last year and where we want to keep going. So our vision and mission is that truly we want to prepare all students for in-demand careers that will support them in a livable family wage. How we want to do that in our mission is we want to transform students into self-reliant adults by providing them with opportunities to explore, develop, and implement strategies for lifelong learning. Elma CTE will provide value-added experiences in leadership, civic engagement, work-based learning, career preparation, and 21st century skill development through industry-relevant curriculum, dual credit opportunities, and industry-recognized certifications. Extended resume building opportunities will also be facilitated through FFA, Skills USA, and FBLA. This year, I plan on pursuing some grants that are primarily, some of them are traditional grants that I pursue in Carl Perkins for professional development. IRC is industry recognized certification fees, precision exams. this year were allotted for just under $16,000 for Carl Perkins. It's a federal grant in part of our CTE compliance. We also will continue to pursue a grant from Equus for summer internship stipends, estimated $9,000. Also, I plan on trying to go for some Carl Perkins Reserve grants through simulated technical education, expansion of work-based learning opportunities, and STEM project-based learning for a little bit over $10,000. We're also looking at a Skills USA project grant for construction lab to build sheds to connect with our construction curriculum for $15,000. Or roughly $10,000 to pursue miscellaneous grants for our school garden, aquaponics, and ag co-op. And then we recently submitted a Core Plus Aerospace grant for $50,000 to hopefully secure a welding simulator, the expensive consumables, and finalizing some toolbox completions for our Core Plus aircraft manufacturing class. Last year, we didn't pursue as many grants just simply because we didn't have the need as much. And it was a little bit harder for opportunities, but we did secure just under $50,000 in grants that included helping with some of our internship programs, securing a rabbit hutch for our market rabbit co-op, and some monies for our aquaponics center. And with grant writing, these past 6 years, I have been able to secure just under $500,000 in grants for our CTE program growth. This is in addition to our regular CTE funding. And because of that, I think you can see on this list that we've been able to really implement some amazing pieces of equipment that are industry standard in order to teach and facilitate for our students. Lots of CNC equipment, a mill, press brake, plasma cutter, landing gear simulator, lathe. We've also invested in vehicles. So we have very current, up-to-date vehicles, a gator, a tractor, laser engraver. You kind of name it, we probably have quite a few of these items that are listed on here. We have all these items, but it's quite a lot. And because of that, I think we've been able to secure and update our labs. Another thing that we've been able to continue to do, and Mary Roberts is an essential part of this program, is our Eagles work program. As Mary Roberts is our career connection coordinator. This year alone, we had our students actually earned just a little bit under $250,000 in work-based learning through stipends and through paid jobs. They worked just under 20,000 hours were recorded for 45 CTE students, 14 alternative students, and 11 students on IEP transition students. We also had 16 paid internships that were supported and facilitated by Equus. Along with that, we were able to also have a student that earned a top 5 JATC Sheet Metal Award, which earned direct entry into the Sheet Metal Union. And we had 12 students, leadership students from FBLA, FFA, and Skills USA that actually competed in a virtual job interview event. And some of those later on competed in state and even national job interview events this last year. Additionally, for some of our results, we continued and actually increased our opportunity for our Ag Summer Co-op, where we were able to pay 30 different teens a paid internship, whether or not they had barriers or not. And we were able to do that because we collected over $12,000 from our community. Our community is always amazingly very supportive, so that we could provide paid internships to all kids. And Equus was also part of this support of this program. Out of that, we also had 12 teens that marketed rabbits at the Grace Harbor County Fair through the Grace Harbor Youth Livestock Auction. And on average, those 12 teens earned $800 extra for their pin of 3 rabbits, and Ag Boosters helped support that by providing the SAE loans so that all the consumables were first off supported by Ag Boosters. The students then marketed their rabbits and then later on paid that loan back after their income. And then we also had 2 grads that came back to be hired as supervisor roles for our ag co-op. So it's really this amazing inclusive program that we've been able to complete, thanks in many parts to our 2 key coordinators, that's Ariel Finfrock and Katie Vetter. But we also had excellent support from Travis Finfrock, Rebecca Foote, and Emily Sievers. Along with that, Mary Roberts was essential for this success. In our FFA program, we also have a supervised agriculture experience where our students collectively earned over $93,000 in placement, employment, entrepreneurship opportunities, and then of course some hours that were spent in exploratory or research experience and or improvement in cooperative school experiences. Our CTE program also provides dual credit opportunities. So what this means is that students can take a CTE class, and an articulation is coordinated with a community college. You'll see there that we have 6 different community colleges that we articulate credits with. If a student earns a B or a C, depending on the agreement, then they can earn also a college credit. And you can see that we actually have the opportunity for students in our school to earn 88 credits, college credits, out of 22 different Elma High School courses. And that value is approximately worth $8,800 per student if they were to capture all those credits. So we're very proud of that. And then you'll also see that we have a carpenter's employers apprenticeship and training agreement. So what that does is our students can get preferred placement into our carpenters union. We also provide the opportunity of industry certifications. You'll see here that we have food handlers permit, steel bronze level, first aid CPR. I have to say we had to put that one on hold this last year with COVID, but we will be bringing that back in full force, plus adding an opportunity to get babysitting sitter credentials at the middle school level. We also have a Core Plus program in aircraft manufacturing, OSHA 10, forklift operator certification with our own forklift, and then precision exams in multiple classes. The other great opportunity through House Bill 1599, and our superintendent, Chris Nesmith, was instrumental in helping facilitate this, but we now have students have the option to have various pathways in order to graduate. It doesn't have to be a test alone of the ELA and math SBAC. However, we want the students to be a career and or really career readiness, and sometimes that means more of a university route or college or post-secondary opportunity. In CTE, we have a graduation readiness pathway. And what that means is any student that completes 2 years, two full credits, which is 2 years of an approved program, that includes either a CTE dual credit articulation, which is a college credit, and or an industry recognized certification in an approved OSPI CTE course, then that qualifies as meeting one of the a graduation readiness pathway. At Elma, we alone have 16 options through agriculture, health science, business, and skilled technical sciences. And this year we're developing one for East Grace Harbor through business for them to have that option too. It just gives our students more opportunities to have success and be able to graduate on time. So just going in this last year, I want to say I just feel like I have some amazing staff and a team of individuals that really think outside the box, create programs and opportunities for kids, even in this challenging times. And out of these challenging times, I think we had staff and students that really rose to the occasion. So some of our accomplishments is that we were able to provide some interactive TVs and projectors into classrooms. We purchased a tractor with a bucket and tiller, Ford transporter, and a covered trailer. We also purchased CTE manufacturing storage, outdoor classroom seating, and versatile desks, more like stand-up desks and things like that, so that we can engage various learning types. Ag Co-op Hutchins system, a 4x8 CNC plasma cutter. And then we were also able to develop some programs that we're implementing and putting in place right now. We added a middle school health and fitness program through career technical education and working in conjunction with Summit Pacific Medical Center and Blue Zones. We're also, with all this different equipment that we've been able to purchase, our construction, fabrication, manufacturing labs are almost complete, which is a lot of work as far as by the time you look at placement, electrical, and everything like that. We've been able to really fine tune and finalize a lot of stuff. We've also had financial and placement support for work experience and internships, growth of our summer ag co-op, and we spent a lot of time purging and surplusing some outdated equipment while we had opportunity and space to do so. We also had some engagement where our CTE translators served students for graduation completion and COVID issues. We had home kits for online learning, virtual, local, regional, state, and national CTSO competition, and virtual career college readiness and CTSO readiness with our former grads. So even though it was not fun to be online and virtually, we actually were able to have former students across the whole United States to really connect with our kids and give them feedback and input about how to pursue post-secondary education, looking at different careers and the pluses and minuses of that. And then also we had students that came back and worked with our students online to prepare them for job interviews and different things like that. So it was really quite fun, and we're going to continue that practice. We also had some amazing success. Again, our students, I just can't highlight enough how resilient they are. We had FBLA students, we had 7 students that were in state finalists. In Skills USA, we had the National Silver Medal Chapter Business team. Washington State earned only 6 national medals, and those all came from Elma High School. So we're really proud of that group of kids. We also had a state champion and a state champion team that were national contenders, and 15 state finalists in Skills USA, and along with that, State Skills USA state officer, Grace Smith, which is not very common for us to have a state officer in our organizations. In FFA, we have 3 district FFA officers, and that is Sam Gillis, Emma Spalding, and Grace Smith. Additionally, we had another state champion out of FFA and another state champion team that are national contenders and will be traveling to Indianapolis, Indiana. We had students compete in 16 different state events, with 10 of them being finalists in the top 8 and 32 different students competing in those. And then we were also named 3rd best chapter in the state. So what do we need to do? We still have a lot of goals to reach and a lot to do. We want to make sure that we're providing some opportunities with East Grays Harbor High School with business graduation pathway. We also want to create a STEM graduation pathway. We want to add Core Plus to construction and fabrication. We'd like to pursue and create curriculum for Native American history with a CTE STEM connection at the middle school and high school. Increase or pursue medical careers and CNA program that would be in coordination with Grays Harbor College and Summit Pacific Medical Center. We are going to work with AJAC in setting up an apprenticeship, an actual apprenticeship that a junior or senior could pursue coming out of our Core Plus manufacturing program. That'll be instrumental with Mr. Henry and Mary Roberts, and Tyler Renz is also part of that creation. We also want to pursue apprenticeships with education through our school district, college and the high school with the CTE math option, align applied math with the math department and provide training, complete school data and fully implement high school and beyond plan through 6th grade through 12th grade, add a middle school Core Plus engineering shop program and a 7th grade CTE STEM science program, and then also bring back our high school engineering option and our graphic productions. That were cut here this past year. For equipment, we're going to add a 2022 Ford Transporter. We actually ordered it last year, but because of COVID and the lag of supplies, that won't be delivered until December. We need to recover greenhouses. Again, we've been trying to pursue that for the past 2 years, but we're struggling with contractors and suppliers. We're going to purchase welding simulators, multifunction welders, continue implementing the toolboxes in the manufacturing lab, add a CTE storage for the Gator tractor and forklift, and then make sure that all CTE labs and classrooms have interactive TV and or projector. We want to engage with Redefine Ready, college and career readiness data dashboard that Chris Nesmith was talking about earlier, as career college readiness is an essential part of career and technical education. Continue to engage in marketing and promotion, and continue to have our CTSOs be operating at the state, competing and operating at the state and national level. Increase our industry partnerships, and then also continue all of our programs. So that is what we have going on. I thank you for your time and support. And do you have any questions?
There's so much going on, Christy. Jeez, wow.
Yeah, it's probably a little too much. I'm sorry.
I think
No,
that your
no problem.
that your graphic that you're showing right now on your screen, it just, the learning that works and opportunities for all, very fitting. And
Thank you.
and I think that it's one thing to put that on your, to, you know, say, oh, that's who we are. It's another thing to back it up with the evidence. And I guess that's really what I would, both as a board member and as a parent, there is a lot of truth that's behind those words. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for recognizing that, because we truly, really work hard to making sure that that happens.
Yes.
And I just have an amazing staff. I just can't, and community support. I mean, students, it takes, obviously it takes a village to raise a child, and it's just amazing that we can put it all together.
I'd like to take a moment. When I interviewed here, I just knew of Christy and how strong of a program she has here, and I got a chance to comment on it. But working with Christy and working with her program has just been nothing short of amazing. And as you already saw, she's fantastic at pushing a lot of the credit onto her team, because she does have an incredible team. But you only have an incredible team like that when you have incredible leadership. And I just really want to thank Christy for her leadership, because she just does so much for this community. I mean, she got me buying rabbits this summer. I can't tell you how good of a job she does.
Yeah, I enjoyed taking that check from you. That was good.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Christy.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the Elma Elementary drop-off and pickup presentation from Caleb. Good evening, Caleb.
Hello. So as some of you may know, the elementary student pickup and drop-off has become somewhat cumbersome. In an effort to make the process more efficient and safe, we have got a new procedure in place. So with the board's blessing, we would like to start this new procedure on next Thursday, 10/21. In order to understand the changes, we've created a video. Special thanks to Rob Belden, the videographer, and Izzy Cristelli, you will hear as the voiceover. So with that, we're going to show the first video. It is of our plan for the new buses and where they will pull up at the elementary. And go ahead, Eric. Some of you may remember before my time, there was some buses that pulled in there. We didn't transport as many students, so it wasn't back to back to back. But yeah, we're gonna go back to what they have done in the past. And if all goes well tonight, the transportation department is going to be practicing that pull up tomorrow morning. So the next video you'll see is literally going to walk you through how we're going to, if we were a parent or guardian dropping off and or picking up a student, it's going to walk you through how to do that. So bear with me and take it away, Eric.
Caleb, did you want to show those photos first of all, or you want this video?
Video's fine.
Okay. Wait a second. I have to make sure that I share the sound as well. So just one second.
Oh, gotcha.
Changes to the Elma Elementary student pickup and drop-off procedure have been made to improve efficiency and increase student safety. Please continue watching this video for detailed pickup and drop-off instructions. Individuals picking up or dropping off elementary students will now enter through the west entrance of the transportation facility parking lot located at 1221 Monte Alma Road. The transportation facility is west of the elementary school. The gates will not be open until 7:50 a.m. in the morning and 2:20 p.m. in the afternoon. In the afternoon, please avoid showing up before 2:30 p.m. to prevent interfering with buses exiting the facility. Do not block the bus exit. If you are dropping off your student late or picking them up early, please take them to the front office as usual. You will need to stay to the left and follow the designated traffic pattern. Please do not exceed speeds of 5 miles per hour. Once you have rounded the tires at the end of the lane, pull up along the sidewalk to your left. Proceed with caution and keep a watchful eye for any children. Pull up to your designated spot and wait for your student. This portion of the process will be similar to what you are currently doing. See the white vehicle at the top of the screen entering in the wrong lane? Do not be this vehicle. Follow the designated traffic pattern and keep to the left. Signage will be in place to help guide you through this change. Here you will see the vehicles practicing the pickup and drop-off procedure. In the case of a reluctant student having challenges leaving your vehicle, please pull up to the designated area to the left to avoid delaying traffic. Again, we thank you for your cooperation and for adjusting to this new procedure.
All right. Any questions on that?
Caleb, I'm just curious what the plan is for that gravel area that's going to be it's already kind of a mud zone just getting out there for soccer practice, I've noticed. So are there improvement plans to that?
There are. So first off, that was last Friday, right in the middle of trying to get rid of all that pea gravel that we pulled out of the playgrounds. That has now been took off site. So we're going to get another couple dump truck loads and continue to put a top layer over that. And you know, the Pacific Northwest, yes, we will have potholes show up, and you know, hopefully Dale Vesey, who enjoys to grade that, will be out and taking care of it.
Caleb, what is the area for the current, what is the plan for that kindergarten area pickup drop off?
So over there, Eric, what picture do I have? You want to pull up the generated photo, not the drawn one, Eric? The still photo. It's got the Monte Elma Road on it.
One second here. Which picture do you want, Caleb?
The one that's computer generated with the arrows and the.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Just to give a little bit better understanding. So as you can see, that's just kind of an overview of the location. The horseshoe would be your gen ed buses, and then the two buses over to the left where the current kindergarten drop off is. There's actually a sidewalk that runs right through there. That's where our special needs buses will be, and they will pick up there. We've placed them there so they can exit prior to the gen ed buses and get on their travel path. So we will still allow staff to park in that parking lot. It just will not be utilized as the drop off and have multiple lanes there.
Thank you.
Caleb, I have a question real quick. Where the cars are going around back by the kindergarten, so that's the drop off and the pickup. I guess my concern would be is little kids jumping out of cars on the other side of that sidewalk while you have another lane of cars coming in. Hold on a second. Do you understand where I'm going with that? My internet's kind of weak right now. So
Yeah,
skipping,
yeah.
sorry.
So the entrance lane will be clear over towards the green belt, and then the drop off will be on the sidewalk. And that way, no students will be crossing in front of any other vehicle rather than their own, if they choose to cross in the front of that. But there's not going to be multiple lines per se to where, you know, kids are actually going to be coming and going. And that's kind of why we're using the entire lane going all the way down to the end, what have you. And that's also why we're pulling.
Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's why
There's
we're
actually
pulling
quite a
in
bit of
at the transportation side. Sorry. Is my internet lagging? But by pulling in from the transportation side, we're also allowing, you know, extra cars to back up per se.
And there's quite a distance, Jamie, you know, when they were originally where they were dropping off, you could still drive right past when parents were stopped in the school parking lot, which was in much closer proximity to cars passing if they were to be getting out of that left side of the vehicle. So that's, it's a much greater distance.
Okay, I'm gathering it now. So I had to laugh a little bit, Caleb, when you mentioned that this was a new procedure. Those buses used to do the horseshoe about 44 years ago too.
Right.
Right, Bernie, Beth, Eric.
I have no clue.
Ryan. Thank you, Caleb.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions for Caleb?
I just want to, thank Caleb and Mr. Keating and Jeff Monroe for this process. It's been quite a bit of work. We've had one kind of big issue is the current system was a great solution when we moved into COVID, and we could no longer pick students up how we used to. And I think the amount of work that went into the current system was really substantial, and it really did meet the immediate need. Currently, it takes a lot of staff members to manage that system, which is inhibiting our ability to have our IEP meetings at the end of the school, right? Provide the support for students and also maintain a building administrator in the building. Our building administrators have become full, have been putting a lot of work managing that parking lot. So a lot of thought has been placed into how can we free up a lot of manpower so we can still engaged in the business of education at the end of the school day, and just a lot of hands-on kind of re-envisioning this plan to free people up. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, if we're ready, we can go ahead and move on to procedure 3122, excused and unexcused absences, and Mr. Nesmith will be presenting.
Let me see what screen I'm on. This is actually pretty quick. This came up in our early August board meetings on our student handbooks. And one of the conversations around students due to absences and the adjustment to the board procedure. This current WASDA boilerplate language is kind of lists out, but limited, including but not limited to, and it provides several examples. Due to the nature of COVID, why we have so many students out, the even growing variety of reasons why students were out, we felt that instead of continuing to list out all the potential options, we would just eliminate that and have that reflected within our board policies. So this is the recommended procedural update. This does not take action. We can just update the procedure as it is. But I wanted a chance to kind of see our recommended changes. Any questions? All right. Well, that's how we're kind of approaching that in our future handbooks. So it kind of came up on the handbooks. We had a lot of this language in there, which was interesting, saying that some of these get a little personal. So we'll be striking that from our future handbooks and have more of a broad approach.
Perfect. Okay, communications and comments. Do we have anyone from the ETO? EESP? ECOPA? Admin?
We're going to have Bill Oppiger was going to comment. He's our current substitute building administrator. I think he just sent me a message where he was trying to attend to something real quick. So I wonder if we will move to the other ones. People that heard and good news, and then if we don't have those.
Do we have any? Okay, sure, no problem. Do we have any persons to be heard or public comment that was mailed in or emailed in? Do you know, Candace?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Bill's back. You're up front and center. You've got the mic. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Bill, go ahead and unmute yourself. You're not mute. You're muted.
Can you hear me
There you
now?
are. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come here. I've met Jamie and Bernadette, but I haven't met anybody else. So thank you for the warm welcome. Chris called me. I can't remember. I think it was mid-September and asked if I would come and sub. And I told him, no, I don't think so. I've got so much going on. So he called me again and I was like, I don't think so. And then he called me the third time. He goes, this is a great school. You're going to love this place. It's got amazing CTE and just amazing people. We just come and try it out. And I'm so glad I did. This has just been an amazing opportunity. I appreciate it so much. And so thank you all for the warm welcome. I really, really appreciate it. So some things going on with the high school right now. Of course, we've got conferences coming up the week of the 8th through the 12th. And on the 11th, we're going to have our Veterans Day Assembly, which I have been told that that's kind of the norm around here, which is great. I'm excited to see it. And so we're also gearing up for homecoming, which we're going to start kicking off next week. And so while we won't have a dance, I'm really excited the fact the parents group has jumped in to take care of that. And so I'm just really happy to be here. Chris was right. Told me a couple times, you're going to really love it here. And it's just great. It's such a good place. And it's kind of payback for Chris because when he first applied at West Valley High School, he was, gosh, Chris, I think Mr. Nesmith was like 27 years old and he was applying for an assistant principal job in CTE. And he just had something about him that just worked. And I had to actually meet with the board to make sure that this young punk could actually do the job. And he took on that challenge and did an exceptional job. And I'm just so proud of the fact that he's here doing this now. You have a great leader, and I'm really, really excited to be here, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. We're very excited for our future here at Elma, and thank you for raising your hand and being a part of that. Okay, we have good news.
We have a lot of good news. So, I mean, I think just the big one is I've just been really impressed with our teaching staff and our administrative team. I don't know if you've seen our district dashboard, our COVID dashboard. We have 5 cases in the last 14 days. So our rate of transmission, our spread, everything has been incredibly low. Alma School District has been staying open. We have a full transportation fleet. Many of the stresses impacting many school districts across Grays Harbor and across Washington State. Just this team has just been really coming together to work to get us through. Just so the good news is we're all here. All of our kids are here, and it would not be happening if it wasn't for the teaching team, our classified team, and our administrators to really pull this together. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
I should say one more. Christy said it in her presentation, but I do want to reiterate, our Skills USA students also did receive their medals. So for our silver medals. So.
Great. Maybe I try to unmute myself. Sorry, I tell my child not to use a microwave while I'm in a meeting. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have some unfinished business. We have the approval of the 21-22 high cap program.
I make a motion we approve the 21-22 high cap program as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the CTE Strategic Plan 21 through 2024.
I'll make the
move
motion.
Go ahead, Steph.
Okay, I'll move for the approval of the Alma CTE Strategic Plan 21 through 24.
I'll second that.
And a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Was that everybody? Stephanie?
Oh, sorry, aye, yes.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so that was unanimous. Motion carries. Approval of policy 2255, alternative learning experience. Courses second and final reading.
I'll make a motion for the approval of policy 2255, ALE courses second and final reading.
I'll second that.
Been a motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Approval of the EESB CBA 21-22.
I'll move.
Never mind, sorry, perfect. I was just going to give you a summary. If you're ready to approve, I'm ready to.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, we completed our bargaining with ESP. We have a 1-year contract coming in as a new superintendent. Let's find our bearings and reevaluate. We did implement a new salary schedule. So I would appreciate approval on our ESP contract.
Okay, now I'll move for the approval of the ESP CBA 21-22 contract.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, approval of the Alma Elementary PTA fundraisers. I don't know if Jenny is in the house tonight, but I don't know if we have any questions either. So If we do, we'll go from there.
So Jenny had is it Sarah in for her on this one? If there's any
Yep,
questions.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Did you want me to go through each of those?
I don't think we need to go through each of them. If anyone on the board has a question, we can ask for clarification.
Yeah, they appear to be the standard ones that our PTA does yearly.
Yep.
And I make a motion for the approval of the PTA fundraisers.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jody?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Let's see, approval of the EHS Boys Basketball Booster fundraisers. And we do have Rose here. I saw Rose. Yes,
Hi.
there she is.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
We can.
Okay. So do you guys have the form that we submitted, the fundraiser approval form?
Yes, we
Okay.
do.
So any questions? I know we were in discussion about concession stands and the holiday cash raffle with Mr. Ohashi, but we did have some clarification between us on that. So I guess I'll just go with your questions if you have any.
Okay.
Standing on that is the district has, Mr. Hashi has moved forward with full district support on those.
Thank you. Thank you.
The question that I had was what was the holiday cash program?
Program, yeah.
I don't know if I can, Jamie, do you mind explaining that one a little bit further? Okay.
That's fine. Just so you all know, I'm going to abstain from voting on this one. I had this group up. The cash raffle is like a 50-50 raffle. We haven't even decided at what price we would sell tickets. We are going to follow the Washington State Gambling Commission guidelines under their non-charitable raffles. We can hold up to 2 a year. So it's just basically a 50-50 raffle is what we're doing. Tickets will be pre-printed. The drawing date will be held at a basketball game in the public. We'll hold on to those ticket stubs for a year per the rules and regulations with the Gambling Commission. So it's all on the up and up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And just for questions, is the shoot-a-thon, is it done like is it sponsored, like sponsorship from the community? Is that how that works?
It's pretty much where the boys will go and they'll make pledges or try to get pledges. I don't know how the coach wants to do it, if it's out of 100 shots, but it's basically if I make, let's say I do 10 out of 10 free throws, will you pledge so much dollars for basket made? That was my understanding.
Okay, I thought that's what it meant, but I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't have any additional questions. Anyone else?
I make a motion for the approval of the Elma High School Boys Basketball Booster fundraisers.
I'll second.
Ooh, I think Stephanie beat you.
I think she
Okay,
did.
there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Note for the record that Jamie abstained. All in favor was unanimous, so motion carries. Approval of thank you, Rose.
Thank you.
Approval of the class of 2024 booster fundraisers.
You guys, I'm gonna talk for the 2024 class. If anyone has any questions, we will be doing the taco bar again, potato bar at the Country Bazaar in the pavilion. It's one that gets passed down from grandchild or grandchild. And since we have Grant Vesey, we get that. So we missed it last year, but we'll get it back up going again this year. And we did add the wreath. It was done by another class that gave it up. So a new class is taking, so we'll take it over this year, selling the wreaths. And I'll abstain from this one also.
Jody, those wreaths are the ones that have been sold by the previous years, the classes,
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah,
Yep.
the really nice ones.
Yeah, those are great. Make sure Tanner hits me up.
Okay.
And I know that we have 5 of us on the board, and that's also a board that I'm on, so I will abstain.
Well, I'll make a motion for the approval of the class of 2024 booster fundraiser since I don't have any kids in that class.
I'll second it because I don't have
either,
one
so
in
I'll
that.
second it. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, approval of the class of 2025 booster fundraiser.
I think I'm on for this. We just want to sell Elma Eagles stadium blankets. Yeah, I'm excited. I want one.
Mine is
Uh,
wrestling,
any-
it's old and tattered.
So any questions on that?
No, but I do want to say that when I saw blankets, stadium blankets, I couldn't help but think of Big Larry
Aw.
and all of his sales over the years. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm thankful for you, Melinda, and the class for taking on that project.
Yay.
And
So-
let's just make, oh, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. So also, I don't have a student in that class either. So I'll also make a motion for the approval of class 2025 booster fundraiser.
I'll second it.
I'm going to abstain from this one also since my sister's a board member in that group.
Well, I have to abstain because my child's in that. I have another child in there. Is this how this is working? Okay, so there's been a
No.
motion.
You don't have to abstain from those.
Do we
If
not have to? Okay, I'm
your
not on that board.
Yeah, family's having a, like if you're, yeah, you don't have, neither Jamie nor Bernadette do you need to abstain
Okay.
from those two votes.
Okay, okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, whew, now that we got that out of the way, I was trying to be on the level, man. Okay, so there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay, discussion and approval to adopt policy 3131, transfers, first reading.
This is a board policy that we worked on because we wanted to identify our in-district transfers. And one of the rationales behind this board policy that we drew, it's written for Eagle Sky Virtual Academy. And rationale being that we have students that would transfer to the Alma School District Eagle Sky Virtual Academy where we do have room, but needed to have a board policy on how students came into the Alma School District when there wasn't room, say, at Alma Middle School. So we had a policy in place where you can't just move into the Eagle Sky Virtual Academy and then turn around and transfer to Alma Middle School if there's no room at Alma Middle School. Just detailing the policy on how students who go to Eagle Sky Virtual Academy need to complete a term on how you're earning credits versus you know, we're not moving back and forth when you don't have room for students to move back and forth. We have our plan on students not moving back and forth.
Okay.
I'll move for the approval to adopt policy 3131, transfers, first reading.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Discussion and approval of policy 3141, non-resident students, first reading.
This is also, I was told I'm coming across a little quiet. I think the only way I can solve it is manually, which by manually, I mean, I just need to talk louder. So this is in response to our Eagle Sky Virtual Academy on how setting an application for students who are out of the Alma School District would apply to become students of the Eagle Sky Virtual Academy. We've had a large population of students looking to move into our online school from other districts. Due to COVID, most virtual schools now need to be ran through the ALE system. Not all schools across Washington State were able to get their ALE systems in place. And we feel that we have a strong system within the Alma School District to take on a strong and cost-effective way to take on students within the Alma School District's Eagle Sky Virtual Academy. So we just need to have a policy in place for applications.
I'll move for the approval of policy 3141 non-resident students, first reading.
I'll second it. Ooh, that one goes to Steph. There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Discussion and approval to adopt policy 6225, use of electronic signatures, first reading.
So with the emergence of online schools, we also have students and families who don't have the ability to come in and fill out the paperwork and to use an electronic virtual signature, whether it be an out-of-district student who is on the complete and total different side of the state, or an in-district student who, family doesn't have the ability to come in. We work our policy to provide us the ability to have an online signature tool using we have the Adobe, using Adobe as our signature tool process is what we decided upon as a district.
I'll move for the approval to adopt policy 6225, use of electronic signatures, first reading.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, whew, that was long. Superintendent report, Mr. Nesmith.
Well, just some really big things. We have a brand new COVID dashboard that Izzy Costelli has designed, and it's keeping our families informed. We're just still moving forward on this mission of transparency. We want our community to know exactly what we're going to talk about. You'll also notice on our current board meeting now, we have future agenda items. We're actually talking about, we've listed what the next discussion items will be on our future board meetings. We really want to have our community engaged. We want our community to know the projects the Alma School District is working on, and we want our community to know how our students are doing. So the information we're putting out on social media, the information we're putting out on newsletters, I just feel that I'm just really proud of our district team on how we're doing, how we're moving. Last is we're moving forward on our COVID protocols. What is it? October 18th is the governor's deadline. We've been meeting with every staff member in the Alma School District. I think I need to meet with 2 more people by Friday, and then everybody in the Alma School District will have been met with. So that's how we're doing.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that update. Okay, so we have our student representative, Delaney Hansen. Sorry, Delaney, I know there's a long agenda tonight. Thanks for hanging in there.
No worries, it's okay. So today I'm at the high school because we just had our blue and gold bash for the fall, and I can't put I'm on my phone today, which is kind of weird. But we were in the wood shop and we painted pumpkins. I'll go find some. But we got to paint some pumpkins. And it went really well, and we had some candy and we watched a movie, and it was really awesome, and we had a really good turnout. And then next week is homecoming week. So we hope a lot of students dress up and show their school spirit and come support our team at the football game. And then I had the opportunity to participate in a book study with Ms. Belden and a lot of other members of our staff. And it was really helpful. And it's about like implementing more like mental health and really just making sure that kids feel listened to when they're learning and making sure that they're motivated to learn and actually want to be here. And so I was talking really fast, but that's okay. And then the last thing I just wanted to wrap up with is a lot's been happening lately, and the winter season's coming up, and that can be difficult for a lot of people. So any staff members, any students, any family members, parents, guardians, whatever, anyone who's struggling, there are resources open. Just make sure you're eating, make sure you're drinking water, make sure you're taking care of yourself, because this can be a really hard time for people. So just know that you're loved and cared for. That's all I have.
Great, Delaney, thank you. I really appreciate your heart, and thank you for the little virtual tour we just got.
Hey,
Great.
hey, Bernadette, Delaney,
Yeah.
I would just like to, I'd like to compliment you guys. I was looking at the homecoming, kind of the theme days, and I don't know if, from a community standpoint, that people are as aware of how hard the students have worked with the ASB advisors to come up with themes that are inclusive. They're almost impossible for a student not to be able to be successful at. And you know, we've moved away from having things like twin day that are you know, if you don't have a person, you can't participate in essence. And I know that has been a progress. You know, it takes some time to develop. And it means everyone growing, just in being a little bit more open and reflective for those that are in, you know, in places of leadership, to make sure they're making good choices that students can participate in. So I just wanted to pass along a thank you and a good job on that.
Thank you.
Okay, that wraps up our meeting. Sorry. That wraps up our meeting for tonight. We will move into executive session for about 30 minutes, I believe. I'm scrambling right now. Say that again, Chris.
20 minutes. We'll be out at 7:55.
Okay, you heard the man. That's what we're doing. So we'll have a good night, and everybody get your rest, because homecoming week is coming. Lots of stuff to do.
Are we gonna get another link?
Yes, he should be sending you a link to a separate Zoom meeting. And this one will stay in place just to announce the executive session. Or will you guys come back to it to adjourn the meeting?
We come back to it to adjourn.
Yeah.
Do we actually leave it?
Yeah, you'll have to leave this meeting, and he should have sent you a link to a different meeting.
I can get out of here.
Rick. Hello.
Yes.
I need 10 more minutes, please.
Okay. Well, I will put it up on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you. We're all coming back in, Eric.
Okay, sounds good.
No, down. Sit. Good girl. Good girl, you good baby. Oh, get down.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Hey, Bernadette, thank you
Bernadette.
for emailing about the food. You responded for us for the school meals. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yes, no problem. Yes. Great. Everybody have a good evening. Oh, uh-oh.